Hello, this is Jamie from NationalInnova.com. Today's video is going to be on floor pan replacement, and I'm going to show you a little bit on what I did to fix a hole in my floor. This is basically where I'm going to try to cut out the floor pan and replace it. I've already been playing a little bit, but this was the original hole. I think what I'm going to do is try to take it basically through here around to the original where it was spot welded in, probably to somewhere right here, and probably what I'm going to do is do a lap weld here, that way, because there's a brace under the floor, so you never see the weld there where it was fixed. You will see it here, but you know, it won't be that noticeable. And back here there's actually brake lines underneath the car, so I think I'm going to stay forward of that, because that metal's all good minus that little bitty spot right there, but I can fix that without cutting all this out. It's basically right here that's bad. So like I said, instead of just messing around with this little bitty spot, I'm just going to take it to its seams. That way you can, most of it won't be seen, except like I said right here and maybe a little bit right there. But this is the floor pan I bought from Classic Industries. I can't remember the price offhand, but I want to say it was 50-60 bucks, something like that. It's a little bit bigger than what I'm actually gonna use out of it, but like I said, we'll probably do the same thing. Trim it up to where it just hangs over, you know, 1/4 to 1/2 inch over the existing floor. Besides right here where the flange is, we'll poke holes in that, probably 1/4 inch holes or something, and then fill them in with welds, so it'd be almost like it was still spot welded in. Same thing, you'll probably use this lip to make my lap weld and just kind of cut up right above it there, and then we'll figure out where we need to be. But what I'm going to start is probably do like a rough cut just to get the floor out of the car, and then we'll have to clean up so you can see where the factory seam sealer was there. We'll probably have to get all that chewed up out of there, and I think I'm going to cut it probably right to that seat bolt holes, just probably in front of it. Like I said, there's a brace under the car, which I'll show you here in a second. There's that brace that I was talking about. That's going to stay there, so we'll basically split that floor pan right in the middle, so all that weld will be hidden. And then, like I said, there's the brake lines that I run under the car that I'm not going to mess with, so I'm just going to basically cut right in front of them, because the metal's still real good shape right there. And that's the bottom where the hole was, as you can see it. So like I said, we're pretty far away from the brake line, so we'll do our best to not hit those. This flange right here where you can see the spot welds already, that's where that floor is spot welded together. So that's what we're going to try to do with that flange. That way we won't have that seam or the one where the bracket is. So, alright, what I'm going to start with is I'm going to mark where this pan kind of sits in the car, just so we know that no matter what we do, we can't cut outside that line, because otherwise we're going to be doing some patching outside the new pan. So we know that's where this pan's going to be, so when I lift it out of the car, I have basically below that line to work in. Like I said, I'm not going to even cut up that far, because I don't want to mess with the seatbelt hole and all that, but you can see our maximum that we can go. I mean, you don't want to cut out here, otherwise your floor pan ain't going to make it. So we'll stay, everything we'll do will be in that line. If you look closer, you can see the spot welds where that metal brace is under here. So basically it runs right there. So like I said, we'll probably really be right here, and you can see how far away we are from the line. So when we go to trim the pan later, you know, we'll probably be taking about that much off, but you can see the idea behind marking the floor ahead of time, so you know absolutely sure that you don't go past that line. What I'm going to do is cut right on that flange. I'm probably a little straighter than that, but and like I said, you can use a straight edge to make sure you get your line a little nicer. And what we'll do is come over here where it's all good metal, and go ahead and mark it. What I'm going to do is choose to cut in front of that line, or not line, but in front of that brace where the spot welds are. Then we'll go back later and figure out where we really need to be. I like to get it open. Where that seam is down there, you're going to have to actually cut away from it. So when we actually get room, we'll be able to work with that. Just that little lip that's left, and we don't have to mess with this whole pan. There is a parking brake cable ran under that floor, so make sure you don't cut that in half when you're cutting the floor out. I'm going to use a standard cut-off wheel. You know, nice thin blade so it cuts real fast in this sheet metal. I think this was a Harbor Freight which works really good, and I think I only paid like $10 for it. So if you don't have one of these, I recommend getting one. You know, once we start, we'll be basically just cutting that on that black line I just stuck in there. I do recommend eye protection and ear protection. And I also bought these arm sleeves from Harbor Freight. They were fairly cheap. When I first got them, they had elastic on both ends, and they seemed like they were made for a small child. So I basically just cut the elastic off one end so I could actually wear it. But like I said, once I did that, they fit great. Keep that stuff off your arms. So basically, you want to cut, if you can, in one direction. Your blades will last longer. As you can see, if I spin this up just a little bit, the blade's spinning that way. So you want to cut in that direction. It won't eat your blade out quite as fast. So basically, you know, you just lay it on your line, and you don't have to go full blast. You can basically just get it fast enough where it's cutting good and let it eat. Like I said, this is going to poke through the bottom, so make sure you don't cut that parking brake in half. basically what you're trying to do right there. So what I'm going to do is, since it's loud in here now, I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting that, and then I'll show you the result. As you can see, I've got that line cut and that line back there cut. I'm going to come across basically on that far line, and then we'll worry about this front ledge here after I get done with that. As you can see, we got it pretty well loose except that front edge. So being that that's spot welded in, I'm going to take it close to the edge of the rocker, inner rocker structure, and then we'll drop this floor out. Then we'll worry about just messing with that last little piece. It's a good thing I was careful, because it looks like I forgot to mention that the brake lines are down the rockers. You want to make sure you don't cut too far, otherwise you're going to be hitting them brake lines. It's actually right there as well, but luckily it's got a cover over it, so I didn't barely touch it. But you can see, that's all there is right there, is that little bitty piece we got to get out. You can see how it collects dirt. And the rest of it is out. I'm going to go ahead and take the brake line bolt, that one. There's another one on that brace right there. I'm going to take them down and see if I can't pull them away from the pan a little bit. It is a 1/2 inch. So you can see I got the brake lines loose, so I'll try not to hit them. What I'm going to try to do is take this air hammer and run down here and see if I can knock that off. Alright, let's see what happens here. guys, it's out. Basically, we clean up these metal left where the spot welds were with the grinder. A little bit here, and then we'll do some fitting of the pan. You can see how good that inner rocker panel cleaned up with a little bit of grinding on it. It's a lot thicker than the sheet metal floor, so it cleans up great.